be a little bit more difficult. Got to get him his touches. Got to find him. He's playing the 2 now. But KD is so easy to put on offense. It was flawless the other night.
Yeah, because he's not a dribbler.
No.
He's a 1 or 2, he's at the cup, or 1 or 2, he's pulling up. He's a willing passer. The only thing to say about him, really, the whole thing just comes down to the health of the team. Yeah. If there's a concern, are these guys going to make it through a stretch run healthy? Otherwise, they're going to be the most talented team on the floor every night they step out there.
I agree. Did KD look faster to you guys the other night? There was one drive. He went to the left side, took it to the hoop, and he looked like Golden State fast, which I didn't see in the beginning of this year. I don't know if he's a little hesitant or he wasn't getting his condition right. I'm not sure what it was, but he looked so fast to me the other night.
He looked assertive.
Yeah.
Like he was confident in where he was moving. Like he wasn't like a guy who looked like he was worried about his hamstring at all.
Right. He didn't zigzag. He went straight. Like everything was very simple, and because it was so simple and out of his hands so quickly, the only thing where he didn't move was in the post. He had that one put back, and everything else was just silky, simple, and straight ahead. No zigzag. Kevin Durant is like, I remember having arguments about Kevin Durant or Carmelo Anthony on Twitter. And I just feel like it's just foolish to even say that any other player was a better offensive player than him. We talked about this last time, Bruce, and and we don't even have that big of a sample size because we haven't seen all 3 of these players together at the same time. Yeah. But is this the greatest offensive team ever put together?
I think so. I think so. I hope we get to see it. I think, with the big 3 and then adding Blake and LaMarcus to a starting lineup, I mean, the gravity in that lineup is insane. You can't double anybody. They could probably score at will. I hope we get to see it. Like you said, the sample size has been real small. But I think this can – I mean, the advanced stats and metrics say it, but I think this is the greatest offensive basketball team in the history of the NBA.
I mean, the one possession that I think sums it up, where the ball starts with Aldridge in the corner. It works its way all the way around to Harris, who's got Steven Adams running at him. He takes 2 dribbles left, and then Aldridge finishes it with a dunk. And it's just like, at some point, one of the Nets' main guys is going to go by you, and then you're going to have to scramble. And when everybody can pass, everybody can shoot, you have to run at everybody. There's not enough bodies to go around at that point.
And on defense, if you're letting Joe Harris get by you, man, you got to be feeling bad about yourself after that.
Yeah, he did. He's just – there's some games he's like 1 for 3, and you're like, yeah, he's not shooting well. Then he rips like 4 off in a row, and you're like, oh, yeah. Small sample size. Over the course of the game, he's going to take 10 threes, and he's going to hit 4 or 5.
Yep. And on that play, LaMarcus caught the ball basically under the rim, and he went up so quick and dunked. I watched it like 20 times. That play was on Twitter. I just couldn't believe he caught the ball so low. Yep. And was able to get up and dunk it that quick.
I agree. I thought he was going to have to use the rim to protect himself and go reverse. But he dunked it on the same side.
Yep.
He's not washed, man. He's not washed. I thought he was washed. I was a little nervous about getting him, but I gotta go by my own mantra. In Sean we trust.
How much do you guys think they were faking? Because
it's
I saw Blake Griffin play on several, even against us. There was no flying through the air dunking.
It's not, what it is? It's not faking. It's just like us. When the Nets are 27-40,
right?
You approach the team and the games differently than when they're 40-27. You're more into it. You're more focused.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Blake, when we played the Pistons, Blake was just like spotting up and shooting. You know what I mean? He had no interest in offensive rebounding, no interest in playing defense. He just became a shooter. I think like Bam's saying, you're
it's human nature.
Whatever your environment.
Yeah, it's attrition. Like, how many times can you get up for games that you're gonna lose? I get that.
My freshman year at college, we went 2-22. Okay. And we won 2 of our first 5 games. So by game 15, and we were all freshmen. We had no senior class. It was the coach's first year there. You just want the fucking season to be over with.
Yeah, it's miserable.
It's not fun to play like that. In the NBA, it's a grind. He's not a rookie. These guys had made their money. The Aldridge situation is a little weirder because the Spurs are actually doing okay. I think he was just like, I've reached the end of the road here.
Yeah.
And human nature says it's time to move on.
Did you guys? Yeah, that's true. Did you guys see Matt Brooks' video on Aldridge and Griffin, how he broke down, what they're doing with this team and their defense?
I did. Yeah, he did a good job on that.
He did a really good job on that. And I know you've been clamoring for years about getting a front court. That's been his main gripe with Sean Marks.
Yeah, I mean, I thought there was no way we could win without having guys like a Lamar. I think the team, you see it itself, and it was clear to me early DeAndre Jordan was not up to snuff. Do you see how many weak side blocks we now get? We never got those blocks before. Like I just love seeing Jeff Green kind of like, take a big that's backing him down, and then when the big finally goes up, he's not just shooting over Green. Here comes Nick Claxton flying from the wing from the weak side to slap the ball out away, or Blake Griffin coming in from the weak side. We did not have that on our team, and why would we ever want to send KD into that hazardous area? Even though he goes in there and he's a gamer, but I just thought that was crazy, and I felt like we have an opportunity to win it all. Don't tell me we're not going to get these type of players because of some philosophy, some like that. We thought we were the what was it, the 2013-14 Hawks? I forget what team they had with Budenholzer and
I think you're right.
That team is never going to win. And I'm glad they addressed it, and did they address it.
I am too, and more to that point, like Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge they're not good defenders, but both high basketball IQ players. They both know what they're good at, and I think Matt Brooks does a great job breaking it down. Like LaMarcus Aldridge is he knows what he's doing. He's a 35-year-old vet, and he's getting those weak side blocks, as you said. Like DJ was never doing that.
Correct.
And the difference is they're not bad defenders in the sense where they're just going to get physically pushed out of the way, and that's where the team was. So yes, they're not going to be able to, like, Aldridge is kind of playing the same drop coverage DeAndre does.
Yeah, he's the exact same drop coverage.
Better around the rim. Yeah, he's better around the rim in terms of his shot blocking, and then obviously on the offensive end,
he is 10 times as mobile as DeAndre.
He actually has a skill set. DeAndre was a player who was an athlete, and once the athleticism was gone, that was it. It's sad. I feel bad for him, but it just is what it is.
He's a great player. He was a great player, great defender.
He was.
He just can't get out on those players. They knew to stop 3 and 4 feet in front of him and take an easy jumper in front of him, or land, pause, and then let him make the wrong move, and he was lunch meat after that. DeAndre Jordan, I saw from when he was on the Knicks that he just cannot move, and without his mobility allowed him to make mistakes. He can always catch up to his mistakes. He could always, if you blow by him, he's gonna just come in and block your shot from behind.
He was much better last year though. Like it got like, and he was definitely not the same player he was. Like last year, there was definitely like times where he was outplaying Jared. It got way worse between the end of last season through the bubble into this season. Like he literally was just stuck in cement.
Can I ask you a question?
Yep.
Along the same lines, where are you at with Sean Marks? I know you've had a love-hate relationship. Even I remember seeing tweets in February where you were still killing the guy.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've played this game as a former Knicks fan before, like the prematurely loving your GM. Like I remember when the Knicks fan base to a man loved Isaiah Thomas and thought everything he did was great. And I didn't want to do that with Sean Marks. I think there's an energy that comes off of Twitter that the organization feels. I don't think some of these moves are coincidence. I think they hear us. I think because they're only human, right? Like if you were the GM of a team, you probably would try to never look at Twitter, but you would feel something.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want the energy to be giving him all of this love and praise because he signed 2 superstars.
Bro, you sound like Kendra Perkins taking credit for Jason Tatum's big night the other night. Basketball is a simple sport. These guys aren't dumb. Like, they see that they need size.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. No.
Hold on. We've had this conversation.
No, they did not know.
Bro,
they played
they did.
Under Atkinson. You cannot tell me like it's been 3. They spent 3 off seasons. 3 off seasons, and they never got a competent 4. That was the game plan.
The Nets under Atkinson were in talent acquisition mode.
But they believed
Joe
in
Harris
something. They believed to a man in small ball. No matter
how do you explain your boy Anthony Bennett that you were all excited at that they signed? They tried, they failed.
Anthony Bennett was a 5 on the Nets.
Bro, they were just trying to get as much. First, what do you call Claxton and Kurucs? What were those draft picks?
One, Kurucs was a small forward in this country. He never played the 4 before in his life. And then Claxton was a 4 that they fully developed as a 5. They signed Travion Graham to play power forward. He got hurt and he didn't start right away. But the moment he came off of the injured reserve, they put Jared Dudley back on the bench, and he wasn't hurt either. They put him back on the bench, and they started Travion Graham at power forward. This was a philosophy that even
I see it.
And even Steve Nash, no, not to cut you off, Bruce. Even Steve Nash, in a press conference, said, "We're too small," and things changed. I believe it. I'm sorry, Bruce. Tell me if I'm crazy.
I don't think you're crazy. I think you've had some crazy criticisms of Sean Marks over the years.
You have to finish the job. Is all I'm saying.
And I think my point to rebut you over the years was we have to let the man finish the job. Like, there's a lot of criticism, not just from you, but from a lot of people in the off season that we didn't address needs. And my pushback to that was, let's see what the roster looks like come playoff time. Like, let's not worry about it in November. And I think maybe people had PTSD of old Nets teams, of Billy King, of, like you said, not addressing the 4 in the last few years, of small ball. But I think ultimately, Sean Marks got it right. I mean, I know he got it right. And maybe his philosophy did change as far as bigs a little bit. And I know Kevin Durant has his ear.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I absolutely. I think Steve Nash has his ear. I mean, it might just be that Steve Nash is from a older time in basketball where there was more set positions.
Yeah.
But I also saw him basically give an on-air critique and go, "We are too small." And immediately after he said those words, we got bigger. And so I know the philosophy. I know where it came from. And I think what Sean Marks does, and I think we have enough evidence to say that this is true, what Sean Marks does is he goes to his coach and his coaching staff and says, "What do you guys want? How do you want to play?" And he goes out and gets those guys that fits how they want to play and what the coaches want. And Steve Nash, his first year, even though I know Bam doesn't believe in Steve, I think he had a philosophy. I think he saw what he had and said, "I can't defend. I already can't defend, but I definitely can't defend like this with a team this small." And they changed. Bam, I don't see how you can disagree with that, but tell me.
Well, no, the argument we've always had is that just because there was the Nets needed everything when Sean Marks arrived, right?
Yeah.
So, and then all of a sudden they got good kind of ahead of schedule. So they didn't have that player to play the 4. Now you're looking at the team where you're saying, we don't just need talent, we need specific talent. Well, then all of a sudden, the next offseason, instead of being able to fill that hole, they got Durant and Irving. You